The Slim Fast 14-day effect on your New Year's resolution. Day 1, the new year. You want to kick it off with a bang, and you're not just talking about fireworks. Day 14, you're ready to start this year right, looking great and preferably on top.
2 weeks is all it takes to get what you really want. Swap 2 meals a day for Slim Fast protein shakes or bars, get in a 30-minute workout, and stick to a 1,200-calorie diet to lose up to 6 pounds in your first 14 days. Find Slim Fast in a store near you.
You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Mob Wives After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Mob Wives After Show.
It's the Mob Wives After Show. Mob Wives New Blood. Episodes 4 and 5, Las Vegas. And I am your host, Erika Garcia-Rojas. And I am joined by a new face here.
Hey guys, I'm Charlotte Broadbent. I'm happy to be with you guys.
Do they have mobsters in England?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Are they Italian?
No, I don't think so. Not really. Not like American.
So what went wrong? Why did we just drop out of the music like that?
Yeah, the soundboard just cut out.
That was just a little cold.
Yeah, it just
Is that because Charlotte's here? I'm Keven Undergaro. I'm here too.
Yes, and we've got Keven here. He's back.
I'm so happy to be back, and I have so much to say. I was wrong about this show from the first episode of the season, but we'll talk about it.
So Keven was a little hesitant because of the new blood, but I think he's slowly warming up to the new blood.
Okay, so really, do we just get right into it?
I think we should just talk about it, old blood versus new blood. So
okay.
let's see what you think.
Old blood. Okay, so when I saw the first episode, and this is why, even for a show like this, you've got to give it your focus. So I had the show on, and I don't know, I was multitasking. So many other things were going on in the background. I came into it with a bad taste in my mouth because I knew ahead of time we were losing Karen, Carla, and Ramona.
And Love. Crazy Love.
I knew initially we were losing Love because I had heard behind the scenes that she was just such an incredible liability that even for this level of crazy, that was a whole other level of crazy that they just couldn't have on the show. And then I know with VH1, they're so sensitive to that. If you go back to really super dangerous people, because when you go back to, I don't know if you guys remember for the love of, I Love Money, or do you remember it back in the Rock of Love, Flavor of Love?
I do remember that show, Rock of Love.
Megan Wants a Millionaire, all like those kind of shows. That, I mean, there was one of the guys on the show who actually I even think won the series that they never aired. He ended up killing his fiance and chopping her body up, and it was just very dark and gruesome and grisly. And so I don't know if this is why they ran away from Love, but
I don't think she was that much of a fan favorite either. I don't think people really liked her on the show.
So it probably was easy to get rid of her, but I had heard that she just was really so
crazy,
so volatile and so crazy, even for them. So I was fine with that, but then when we lost the other 3 girls, I just was afraid it's just too big of a loss. I mean, you can lose 1, maybe 2, but to lose 3 of your main characters that you've fallen in love with for 3 seasons, I was very nervous. And so when I saw the opening of the first episode and Renee is casting for her new company, I said, Mob Wives has jumped the shark. And if you guys, you don't know, the jump the shark is a term for when a series no longer is true to itself. it's true to what made it great. It's become something altogether different, trying to get ratings, trying to stay relevant, whatever. And that's when I started tuning out. And just a little inside gossip, I actually spoke to the production company that produces Mob Wives, Left Right. So I actually do some business with them. I'm, doing another show with them.
Yeah, spill the beans. Spill the beans.
Okay, so funny. So you can tell how obsessed I am as a fan. I have a huge business call with them regarding a show we're producing. And Maria had not jumped on, my girlfriend Maria had not jumped on, who's also a partner on the show, had not jumped on to the call yet. And so in the downtime, waiting for me to go on, I said, okay, listen, before Maria gets on and messes this whole conversation up, we need to talk Mob Wives.
Yeah. He's like,
oh my God. Well, he was like, all right, get it over with. And I just went at him. And it was great because he's like, Keven, I'm taking down all your notes.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm taking everything under. I'm like, you guys jumped the shark. I'm like, this is not the show. I said, the show is Renee fighting with Junior, trying to hold AJ down.
And Karen and all her history.
Yeah, okay, but I get they're gone. Okay, so I get that. We can't go backwards.
Yeah.
But the show, I don't care about Renee building a business. I don't. I want Renee.
Mob Wives. You wanted the mob.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And so I knew that with the vacation, everyone is checked out basically till Monday for the last 2 weeks with the holidays in Hollywood and AfterBuzz as well. So we had scheduling issues here, and so you had reached out to me and said, Keven, can you do this?
Can you do the
I said,
show?
oh, God, well, now I'll catch up and fine. I happen to be the only one in Hollywood who's still here and working. So I was like, okay.
And me.
Right. And so you guys came in to the screening tonight. I had just caught up and I said, okay,
I'm back.
I'm totally back.
I knew you would be too.
I love it.
So
I
good.
take everything back I said.
Yeah.
I think I love the next step the show has taken. I'm totally swept up into the characters, the drama. I'm all in. I mean, I have to figure out how to clear my schedule if you guys don't have me for the next few Thursdays.
We want you. We want you, Keven.
I love it. So that's my thoughts. What are your thoughts?
I like it. I like it a lot. I was afraid a little bit the same way you were that it's going to be a completely new show. I mean, you take away more than half the cast, and what are you left with? You're left with 3. I mean, I love Drita. I mean, the good thing is that the women that they kept were the ones that I liked the most. So that's what kept me somewhat interested.
Okay, and from what I understand, they knew that.
Yes, exactly.
You know what they hinged on? You're not going to lose Renee because that's Jen's sister, number 1. Number 2, she's such a lightning rod.
Yeah.
Okay, and from what I hear as far as Q ratings go, which is, what they look for in terms of advertisers look for, that's the amount of appeal a character has, and Drita's test through the roof.
Oh, yeah.
So, from what I'd heard from one of the executives,
I believe it.
Not at Left Right, but at one of the other production companies that's doing this, is that, listen, we don't care because everyone loves Drita. Well,
Yeah.
Drita's our girl. So that was,
I agree. She's one of my favorites. And I think that the backstory between Alicia and Karen is really interesting, how they're linked, because Karen's, was it grandfather, was the one that killed...
Her father.
Her father killed Alicia's husband's dad. So there's and that's why Karen, and there's fights between that, whether Karen was fired because Alicia was hired, and who can... Because Alicia said under no circumstances and is in her contract that she will not be in a room with Karen. So there's an interesting backstory there.
And again, this is why this is why I love this show.
I know.
This is why
There's
I love
so
this
much
show,
history.
because all these other shows are so cooked. And I'm meaning, everything is like, okay, I'm going to cast you,
Housewives.
Erika, and I'm going to cast you, Charlotte, and I'm going to cast you, Keven, and you 3 are now best friends and roommates in LA. And it's about 3 people trying to be successful in LA, and we're going to play it like
There's no depth to it. There's no history to it. It's superficial.
It's all put together and it's cooked. And sometimes it works. More power to them when it does, but I like when it's real. So I'm sure, there's situations where I know they're forcing these guys to get together, but you can't get around the fact that somebody is in jail, somebody has killed someone else. I mean, this is like real shit. But that one, I mean, Karen's father is a serial killer by definition. Anyone who's killed multiple people, and just even to hear that, I'm like blown away.
I know.
And Alicia says, how can you...
This is Natalie, mind you?
No, this is
Alicia. Gotcha.
Yeah, Alicia.
Sandra Bullock.
She says, how can you...
The whole time, guys, as we're watching it, Kevin's like, "That's Sandra Bullock. That's Sandra Bullock."
Just so you know, not in looks, but
Yeah.
just the fact that she's so articulate and she's not as ghetto and gangster.
Yeah. She even says
Classy
it.
mob
She's like, I
wife.
was not grown up to.
So that's what I mean. She's just, but again, white collar crime.
Yeah.
She's embezzling. Perfect. But anyway, I just even hear that and I'm blown away. Like, how this show's amazing.
Well, with this show too is that there's so much history. Like even Big Ann says she's known Renee for so long. Their families know each other. It's not they don't have
This is no
to
bullshit.
create
No.
situations.
Small Staten Island. They
Yeah.
all know each other.
They all know
And
each
now
other.
they're
and there's
linking
history.
in Philadelphia. And it's like they're
Yeah.
linking everything.
So what's Phil? Who's in Philly?
Natalie.
Natalie's in
And
Philly.
Wait, and Alicia.
And Alicia.
Both of them.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry guys, because I binged on this. Watching all this
Yeah.
Yeah,
episode.
they're in Philly.
They're in Philly. Okay.
now it's-
Is Natalie is too, right?
Yeah,
they both are.
Because
Okay.
Alicia brought Natalie in thinking that she was the
Yes.
perfect model for Renee.
She's like, oh, she'd be a mini you.
Yeah. So how does Alicia then relate to Renee? Because I knew that Natalie was cast for Mob Candy. So how is Alicia in this
Well,
equation?
Alicia was brought in for the show, and it was to do with the fact that Karen, that was the connection.
No, well,
I
there was
think
something
the-
else too, where she was upset that Alicia's husband was friends with Renee, right? Because remember, she was mad about the whole wire.
Alicia's husband has been friends with
Renee for a long
Renee
time.
for a long time. Yeah,
Yeah.
because they go to dinner, and that's what Alicia found out
Renee had
listening to
said
the wires and
Her loyalty
Yeah.
was to
Anthony.
is his name Anthony? I know her son and
And the
brother's
brother.
brother's name is Anthony.
The son's name's
Yeah,
Anthony.
and now I'm blanking on
And
his
now my
name.
name's Anthony.
I'm being a horrible Mob Wives fan because I'm blanking on Alicia's husband's name. But Renee had a line where she said, I will always be loyal to him. Before this, I wasn't as close to Alicia. I didn't know her. So they kind of know each other through her husband. Beyond that, I don't know the connection really. So,
Gotcha. Okay.
all right. So,
Wow.
yeah.
But that's to hear that about Karen makes me think, if I'm producing this show,
yeah.
Karen, Carla, Ramona. I mean, Carla, I think you'll just forget about. But the nice thing is you have the option after a year or two. They'll turn back into pumpkins. That's what I always say. You know what I mean? And they'll humble up and realize that. And I had heard with them they wanted more money. And again, I might be wrong.
Are you talking
I might be
about
wrong.
Karen, and
Ramona, and Carla wanted more money, and they fell on their sword, which they shouldn't have. You know,
shouldn't
the
have.
secret with you guys with these shows is stay on the air, stay relative, monetize in other ways, monetize with your commercial endeavors, your businesses, but stay on the air as long as you can. That's the big thing, and they always make this mistake. You know,
And it's not like they're an actor that they can go somewhere else and be hired for somebody else. Like, what else are they going to be hired to do?
No, yeah.
That would be even remotely to this
can't.
exposure. And
it
you
can
know.
be-
Can't you end up on celebrity? What was it? Couples therapy.
Couples therapy.
right? Which
Yeah.
we saw the preview
Yeah,
for.
yeah.
With one of the housewives,
Taylor.
Taylor, yeah, she's on it.
huge star, reality star, and now is on that show, which is not nearly getting the numbers. And
Yeah.
Anyway, but that's what happened with them. But it makes me wonder. What's nice is how this show can evolve, because by next season or the season after, those girls will be ready to come back and humbled if they would want to bring them back. And how interesting is that of a
They
dynamic?
might, yeah, I mean, they
to
might
get
bring Karen
Alicia
back.
and
Well,
Karen.
I don't think they're
Contractually.
allowed to.
Well, but
Have
they
both
can.
of them.
They cannot have them in the same
Because
room.
there was
but they
something.
can.
Okay, again,
There's like
once
a
again-
Twitter war going on between them. I read all the blogs about it. That it's nasty.
Okay, but I'm sure it is. But again, I'm producing the show.
But yeah, then you want them both on.
And you give Alicia an offer she can't refuse. Again, this is what's nice when you have numbers. Like, listen, Alicia, you want the show. You want the show to stay strong. We want to bring her back. If you don't want to be on it, we'll just let you sit out a season and
Yeah.
we'll bring her back. And you don't have. You're right. We'll honor our contract. You never have to be on camera. I mean, there's ways
To get around that.
to do this, but I'm saying it's very interesting how many layers the show has to continue on. And I did not know that. So wow.
All right. Well, let's get into talking about the episodes. But first off, it is a new year, so happy New Year's, guys.
Happy New
and
Year.
happy New Year to all of our wonderful AfterBuzz fans and listeners. And, this show is brought to you by Slim Fast,
Oh,
actually.
nice.
Yes. And with the new year upon us, everyone got their weight loss goals and wanting to look good. I know I am going to be doing a little like exercise regimen here.
I mean, you're like totally. You and your sister are crazy into fitness and
health,
all stuff.
nutrition.
And Charlotte, you're an athlete, so this is right in your wheelhouse.
Totally, 100%. And so Slim Fast is awesome. So you can, they've got some really good options. They've got like high protein, low sugar protein shakes and bars, and it's awesome. You just have like a 6-pack. You buy them and you just grab and go. And I guess for 2 weeks, if you replace a meal or 2 meals a day, they say you lose about like 6 pounds.
In a week.
In 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And so, like, for girls, I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
In a month and a half, 2 months,
6
you'd be
pounds
right.
yeah.
And the other thing is with those protein shakes, the high protein, low sugar, amazing for guy or girl. Amazing.
And they taste good too. They
do
really
taste good.
I love them. I always have like a box of bars or like some shakes at home.
I have the shakes.
Yeah, because whenever you don't want to skip a meal, and if you don't have time for something healthy or whatever, they're just good to grab.
It's fun. It's funny. You know what? And I'm not just saying this because we're doing a commercial. I actually had one today.
They're good
because I had no time. To eat anything. I was on all of these back-to-back conference calls. It's like, oh, Doug, I have the high protein, the low sugar.
Yeah.
And you know what? And I had one and totally got me through the day. And then, like you said, to me, it seemed like a treat. It didn't seem so.
Does.
Yeah,
That's
good
the best
stuff.
thing about them.
Good stuff.
All right. Well, that was great.
And by the way, you know what else? Though, the new year is so good for goals. I mean,
it is.
It seems like a cliche, but it's not. It's really a time where you have a shot to say, okay, we're starting clean.
Clean slate.
Clean slate. So I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to get myself in shape. And it's nice because you have your goal for the spring, summer.
Yeah.
When we start hitting the beach, we start going out, we start wearing less clothes. Like, now's the time to start.
Now is, especially after like the holidays when you kind of indulge a little bit.
You had your fun, and I'm all about that.
I'm all about that too.
But now get your Slim Fast, and you know what? Get yourself out there.
And you feel better. Like, you feel better about yourself. You feel better physically.
Yeah.
I know,
More
like,
confidence.
when I go during the holidays, I'm eating a lot, drinking or whatever. You're sluggish, and it's just
not good.
Yeah, so. All right, so let's talk about these crazy women in Vegas. Part 1 and 2. So part 1, we'll just recap really quick because the whole thing is leading up to tonight's episode. Essentially, the ladies want to go to Vegas to have fun, and they all go. And it was a little bit of a big deal to have Natalie come. They told Renee, hey, Renee, we want all the girls to be there. And I think it was Alicia that invited Natalie. I'm going to invite Natalie if you don't mind. And Renee was
at that point, none of them wanted Natalie that.
Yeah, none of them did. Yeah, because Drita and Big Ange were just not fans of her either. But they're like, okay, fine. We can, we can be adults about this and be okay. So they all show up to Vegas. Everyone's really excited. They all come at different times. And of course, it's the whole, who gets the better room, who doesn't get the better room. Big Ange and Renee showed up first, right? So they got the room with the rotating bed.
And so how many? And we also talked about how many times has that room been hoarded out in reality shows?
There's been so much.
I mean, I've been in it and I've had it before, through Maria, but
I feel like there's been so much that has gone down in that particular suite at the Palms. Yeah. Because the housewives have all been there every season practically. We just saw Miami. They were there.
All the MTV shows have been through
Was the Real World in that particular suite, or was it a different suite? I think they were the ones with the basketball. So the Real World was filmed there. A whole season was filmed in Vegas. Pauly D.
Yeah, Pauly D was
everybody.
Anyway, it's so funny. So when you look back in history, like we do in Vegas now, and you think of things from the 40s Vegas and then 60s Vegas, people are going to look back 30, 40 years from now and they'll remember that place, like, oh, this star used to come here and this reality show was shot here. It's just interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, and for people that have never been to Vegas, you see it on TV, like anything.
And again, I wanted to be there.
You want to be there.
I so
and that's
wanted
what
to
you
be
think.
there.
It is, yeah. I mean, the Palms is fun. I mean, there's a lot of awesome hotels and stuff in Vegas, but that's a fun one. So, okay, so then they're all kind of hanging out, having fun. Drita goes gambling.
Yeah.
And she gambles a little too much, which is what Lee told her not to do, basically.
And then I was like, Lee, come on, buddy. You really don't get a say in Congress. You know what I mean? You really don't get a say here. Like
she kind of said that too. She's like, "Well, you know what? You think it was fun, you being in jail?" this whole time?
Right.
No, let me go and have my fun.
That's what she said. And on the phone when she told him that she was going, he was like, well, I don't want you to go. She was like, you have no say. I was stuck at home with the kids, never having a vacation when you're in jail.
Yeah, let me go to Vegas.
I'm going to Vegas.
But she gambles like a dude. Like, she went out there, like, hundreds, like, I'm going to play
she's
blackjack.
an extreme personality.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's fighting, working out, I just think she's an extremist.
She's extreme, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was laughing at Lee. And also, like, it's interesting, you know, we're talking about recapping the season. It's interesting with Lee, we haven't seen him yet.
No, I don't think we will.
I'm not so sure.
You think so?
Even photos are blurred out.
I don't think so. I don't think we'll see him.
That's so interesting.
See, I don't think we'll see him either.
Have you heard why? Photos are blurred out. Why?
I don't know. He just doesn't want to be on camera.
He doesn't want to be on camera. Good for him.
I think there was one photo that you kind of saw his face, but all the other photos were blurred out.
But he's allowing everything else. That's what's interesting.
You hear his voice.
You
hear his voice.
Do you think that's his actual name? Oh, well, it has to be, right? Because it's this.
I think so.
I don't know.
But you know, it's. These guys are businessmen too. He's got to know. You know, the other thing we learned from our interview with Renee last year, Eric and I did this great one-on-one with her, was going back to Carla and how the husband, the ex-husband, how much he was really involved. Remember the you know, her Carla's husband.
Yeah.
How much he was involved in the behind the scenes of trying to parlay this opportunity and how aware he was. And I think a lot of the men in this are.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Lee is. And so by at least giving his voice and being part of the plot.
You know, it's interesting that when you compare this show to, say, the Housewives shows, the men really, although they're the topic of a lot of what's going on, they're really not the present much in the show.
I'm so glad you brought this up.
You don't see them as much because the housewives, you really see the husbands a lot, and they're integral parts of the show and of the storyline. The husbands are not so, and they are in a sense that they're talked about, they're discussed. We're watching the lives of these women as a result of the men in their lives. Keven wants to say something.
Yes, the reason I say this, and I'm probably going to be the bad guy for saying it, is because in the housewife shows, 90% of the men are financing the stupidity that's going on here. These bozos, the bozos on Mob Wives, have taken money from the women. They started out with the money, buying them cars, furs, and then at some point cheated, went to jail. And these women are who were the ones who stayed strong, supported them, kept the family together. So you know what? It's like, you shut your mouth, you stay at home. We're running the show.
Not to mention, it's Karen's sister, or Renee's sister. Whose sister's the one? Jen. She's a producer.
Renee's sister. Yes.
She's producing everything.
Absolutely.
So
and again,
it's way more about.
And so when you make this comparison, for some reason, as I was watching this show tonight, I don't know why I thought of it. I fell so far back in love with this show and with the women of this show, and it made me make the comparison to the housewife shows. And the reason that I didn't realize it. Now that you brought the point up, now I realize this is why I like them better, because they do have to stand on their own, or try to. I also feel like they're funnier. Like our girls, the Mob Wife girls are fun. They're fun. I mean, how many times did we laugh?
I love Drita. Drita's hilarious.
Big Ange is hilarious.
Big Ange is too.
And by the way, even Renee. You know, even Renee when we had her on the phone. Remember?
Renee was awesome.
How fun she was.
She was so much fun.
She was hilarious.
Yeah, she was. And that's true. When you watch the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills,
they're so serious about.
Well, and they have so much
dramatic, and
so much money, so that their problems are their problems, but they're in these gorgeous, amazing mansions, and these women have like real legitimate issues.
That's the difference. The housewives' problems, they're not really relatable.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Kyle with his cheating scandals, whatever, but the Mob Wives, it's a totally different life that I think people are intrigued to see about behind the scenes.
Well, the rich life is different too, and I think that's it. You always want to see a world that you're not privy to. So the aspirational. So that's why both work. But with this world, again, people are being murdered.
Yeah.
You know, we have people, Junior's behind bars and still will kill her if he can. I mean, and then we have
Alicia's
Alicia
waiting to hear. Yeah, waiting to hear she's going to be
indicted.
I mean, that's crazy.
And when Angela's saying to her, to bring it back to tonight's episode, when Angela says to her, you know, I'm glad that part of my life's over. I believe
I was a felony.
Yeah, I know.
I
that was hilarious.
But you know what? I believe it. I believe she's like, you know what? I have a bar now. I'm famous. I'm recognized. I can make money legit. I don't have to depend on anybody. You know what? It feels damn nice to not be in that world anymore.
And she was really proud of. She had lunch with her son, and she's so proud that her son is now having a kid and not in. He was getting down into that lifestyle, but he's not in that lifestyle anymore.
Did he really pull out of it? The other AJ?
Renee's son?
No, Big Ange.
Oh, Big Ange. Yes, he did. He did.
He was getting down that
We saw a
route
little scene of him 2 weeks ago.
I was worried about him.
Yeah. So I think
very concerned about him. Not my AJ, but his.
Waking up at 3 a.m. wondering, like, what's going on with AJ?
Yeah, I was. I was very concerned. I was. Why are you making fun of me?
No, because it's funny.
You know it's true. It's just funny.
All right, we don't have too much time left, but we gotta get going with the rest of the episode.
Plenty of time.
Okay.
35 minutes.
35? Okay. So we got the ladies, we got Drita gambling a little bit too much, and then we show Renee. They show Renee back at the suite. All the women go out, they're gambling, they're having fun. They assume Renee's sleeping. They come back to the suite.
It seemed too good to be true that she'd gone back to sleep.
Yeah.
The first night in Vegas.
Let's not forget that Big Ange talked about how she had, like, I don't know how many drinks on the airplane.
Was it 8 Bloody Marys?
Yeah, 8 Bloody Marys. And the first thing she did the minute she got on the street was pop open the champagne. And, like, she addressed this, too. She's like, you know, pills is my problem. Alcohol isn't my problem. Pills is my problem. Alcohol is not my problem. And then Big Ange is like, I don't know. She's drinking. So then we see Renee slurring her words, falling around. And we're like, oh, God. So they kind of put her to bed. They go out. They gamble. They come back to the suite, assuming she's asleep. And she's walking around the pool, looking kind of like a crazy person.
Kinda.
Yeah, it looked like she was possessed.
Yes.
It was back to, she'd been looking so nice and elegant, well, not elegant, but she'd been looking different this season, like with her line and everything, just way more put together, and she was way back down. Yeah. Down, old Renee.
Yeah, it was old Renee.
Yeah.
And then the women come and they see her and they're like, uh-oh. And all she's saying is, Natalie, I'm going to kill her. Why? You know? And then because she said delicious.
Yeah, he smelled
You do not say that word, delicious. I'd be scared to be around Renee if she's around any guy. You do one little thing.
Wait. Again, these people, we've been dealing with death beyond death threats. Deaths.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been saying for years, I would totally walk on eggshells around any of these guys.
Yeah.
I would love to be around them.
Yeah.
I would totally be their friends.
Yeah.
I'd be the best butler, doorman for any of them. But by the way, I grew up in a scary family. I worked in the carny business, a very scary life for 10 years. So I know how to be around these people. You do not make eye contact.
Yeah.
You keep your head down. You just kiss a lot of ass. you just have to know how to deal with them. But absolutely, you have to be scared around them. You say one wrong thing and somebody's going off.
Yeah.
And we know Renee is the most likely, but we know Drita's also capable. There were times tonight where she started like, wait, Drita, why are you snapping?
We talked about it though. Like last season, Drita really turned a corner, and Drita talked about it herself. How it's like I looked at myself in previous seasons, and I saw myself as a horrible example to my daughters.
Right.
And she made this kind of change where she now is more of the level-headed one, which is crazy because at the beginning she was like the crazy fighter.
And she was putting out the fires, but then there was a couple of points in tonight's fight where she said, "All right, now I'm gonna just kill everybody."
There's a few moments you're like, "Uh-oh,
wait, no,
Drita's back!"
Yeah, stop, Drita, calm down.
You kind of like you don't want it to happen, but you kind of do. You're like, "Oh, she's back."
Again, taking a step back, I love Renee, and she's awesome for the show. Like she's
awesome.
Fantastic.
She is.
But on a serious note, you know, I think Big Ange was really hitting it where, you know, Junior's done so much damage to her, and we talked about this last year, and so like let's like, you know, let's be more sensitive and not be haters and negative and just all bitchy and queeny now and just shitting all over Renee. And let's look at this. This was a girl who, married her guy. Yeah, she knew what she knew about him, fine, but I mean, brought him back into her house, into her world, right? Retrusted him after all the cheating and everything else, with her son in the house. And that whole time, while a reality show's taking place and cameras are rolling, he's secretly plotting with the police to take down her dad and even her.
And the Rolex. Remember she talked about the Rolex that he gave her?
Right. And it was just with a bug. And so when you're someone like Renee, how do you trust again?
Anyone.
And so even okay, so we'll talk about another Hollywood thing. Think of Sandra Bullock. She's winning her Oscar, right? It's one of the greatest moments of her life. Yeah, and only to find out
that he's been
banging, James been banging everything in sight. And now come into this world, someone who's not as educated and not as successful, as a Sandra Bullock, let's say, and not as strong and doesn't have the roots and things like that. And this is a kind of a positive thing for her. Wow, I'm getting famous. I finally can make money for my family. I always had to live off my parents. She told us in the interview.
Yeah, she did.
Now I support them. And she's being somewhat empowered. And it's like, oh, wow, and now I'm a family where, hey, listen, maybe this is what will straighten Junior out. Now he doesn't have to earn. I can earn for us. Junior will come back in the house. My son will have a dad. We can make this work. And then just to be so incredibly violated. It's worse, I think, than sleeping with some.
Oh, I think it's worse. It's way worse. Because it's not even against. It's against Renee and her family and her father. Everything that she stands for, and she talks about it over and over again, is
how she's
you're not a rat. How you're not a rat. You're loyal to your family. And so it's like everything that Renee had stood
and
for.
And just that rug.
And so, her entire world turned upside down.
And so how does Renee ever trust anyone ever again?
I do think, though, with Renee... I would say with Renee... and we see this a lot with the whole thing with Natalie and kind of blowing this whole delicious thing out of proportion. And I think everyone agrees on that. The women all agree. I think even Renee kind of knows it.
Such great TV, though.
It is. It's good TV. But it's so misplaced anger, and that's Renee's problem.
Yes.
All the time.
100%.
It's like.
But we understand. Do you understand where it comes from?
I get where it comes from. I think
and
also part of it.
Probably a substance abuser, that might be in her DNA.
Yeah. Well, also her brain is probably fried with all the drugs she's done, and that causes major issues also. But I think part of it too is that she does, however real or not real or whatever, with this guy that guy she was dating, the turtle. Now I can't even remember his name.
Oh my God! So we have to talk about. So we haven't even gotten.
But the thing is, though, I think legitimately, I think she was attracted to the guy or liked the guy or whatever, and who knows how he ended up on the show
guy,
or whatever.
Nice smile.
So I think she's upset about how she acted in front of him, and she's blaming all of that on Natalie. He's distant now. She's blaming. She put, instead of looking at herself, she blames. It's like misplaced anger.
Natalie for pushing her.
By the way, most addicts do that.
Yeah.
Most people in general do that. It takes a lot of courage to look in the mirror and admit your own faults.
Yeah.
So
because Renee took it way too far.
But that's what she does, because that's Renee. But you're right. It's all displaced.
Yeah.
I think it's displaced because of that. I'm sure you guys are young and beautiful. Okay, so congratulations. But one thing you just notice is when you're an older woman, and this girl Natalie is a beautiful girl. She's to me, it's like she's got the pretty girl from high school look. It's not the
stunning.
It's not the 10 movie star look, but it's like that was, if we had a pretty girl in our high school look like Natalie. The prettiest girl in our high school looked like Natalie. And so in that world, you've got this younger, beautiful girl.
Mini me.
Well,
I think she wants to see herself that she used to be like that.
I think she was hoping, right? And she wants to, like you're saying, and then this girl is sassy and disrespectful. But even if she wasn't, it's like you're saying, just misplacing that, even that anger of when I was young and beautiful like that, I gave my life to Junior, who I wasted it with this dude. Other than getting AJ out of the equation, I wasted it with this asshole. And now here's this girl who's just young and beautiful and doesn't have a care and has all the hope ahead of her. That makes me angry too. And that's like something that maybe is inside of her as well.
And it's interesting because at first, and even Natalie said this, at first Renee acted like all like, oh, I love Natalie. She's like a mini me, like taking her under her wing, like being her mentor and this whole thing. And then Natalie's like, yeah, she went from loving me to like hating me in like a hot second. Mentor to mental. That was a great line. That was a funny line.
By the way, like the whole, her calling the new suitor a turtle with big smile, like with headlights, or I don't know what it was.
Turtle, I don't forget what it was, but it was funny. And like, I do think, so let's talk a little bit, back to the episode, right?
Yes.
So now we're kind of done with, part 1. Now we're into part 2. They have breakfast, they're having brunch, and the women are all together. And of course, Renee and Natalie start talking about the whole delicious comment. Renee just can't get over it. She's talking about it. They get into this fight where they break glass, and obviously ends up in a physical altercation.
You guys, like
super scary.
There's like there's broken glass on the floor. They're all in. Even if they're not in bare feet, they're in flip flops. Yeah. And then when she had the glass with the jagged edges,
I was like, put that down.
I'm a producer, exactly. I'm panicking. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I am panicking. Yeah.
Well, they were right there because they came in quick.
Yeah.
In 2 seconds, they were there. Because think of that, like you could kill somebody. Mm-hmm. You could even if you permanently damage a girl's face. Ooh. Think of that. What that is, Anyway.
And they both have that. They both black out. They don't know what they're doing. Yeah. Like they could do anything, and they wouldn't even.
Do you think Natalie would black out too, or she'd fake black out?
No, I don't think she actually. I don't think
Renee and Drita black out.
Yeah. Drita blacks out. She talks about it.
Blacks out.
And Renee, I think it's the drugs or something.
Yeah. I don't think she knows what state of mind she's in. Yeah. She just sees red, and it's like boom.
Yeah. So yeah, they're fighting, and it looks like at some point during the fight that Renee is kind of calming down, and she kind of like
she's
holding
trying
herself back. She's trying to not get herself back. So tell us,
Erika, why you thought you had a great observation when we were watching.
About
when you saw her trying to calm down.
Yeah, I mean, I just felt as if she was so
as
much
a result of her therapy, you were saying.
So much not wanting to get back to that point of where she was.
And you thought through the therapy.
Because of the therapy and the drug rehab and everything that she went through, she knew she couldn't get to that place. Mm-hmm. She didn't want to let herself get to that point. Trying to. And I think that like I said, that was a result of all the therapy and everything she's been to, and like she doesn't want to go back to that. But the Natalie, instead of, I get Natalie wanting to stand up for herself. I totally get it. But
she was poking.
She was pushing her buttons.
She was poking a stick in the cage too.
She was. Big time. And so that's the problem I had. Because I was like, yeah, she was standing up for herself. I get it. But you don't need to like, poke the cage.
And then as soon as she said about Renee's brand.
Yes. It's like, don't cheapy clothes or cheesy clothes.
Mom candy. It's like, whoa, wait a second. I want to say, well, then what the hell are you involved in it for?
I was going to say, which was pretty nervy of her, being the model and the face of the line, to throw that back at Renee. Mm-hmm. So, kind of the fight ended up... It got me feeling a little bit annoyed at Natalie. And
absolutely.
Yeah, I think we're all feeling like, do you know what? Renee's been here with us for a few seasons.
I'm team Renee.
We know and love Renee. She might be acting super cray, but we know everything. Like you said, Keven,
she's part of the family.
And like you said, we know everything she's been through. That's right. We know everything she's been through with her ex.
You're either with Renee or against her. And Renee, I am with you.
Yeah, me
we're
too.
all with you.
Natalie's just coming with an attitude and thinking that she belongs there and that she can kill them. And it's like,
Renee is BMOC, right? And BMOC, Big Man on Campus, can kind of get away with doing crazy ass shit. And the other women know that about Renee, and they're like, okay. Now we got Little Miss New Girl on campus, and Renee was
great TV. I'm happy to have her.
Great TV.
But
she's a little too cocky right now.
If I could hang out with, I would not want to hang out with her. I don't think she'd be fun. I think Big Ange, Renee, so much.
I think her voice would drive me crazy.
So much more fun.
Yeah.
For me, I call it the PGS Pretty Girl Syndrome, where again, I just think she's probably been so catered to her whole life because of her looks, and then she comes from some money with that business. The family business. Not a fun person to be around. Great TV. Happy to have her as part of this, but no, I want to be with I still want to be with my mob wives.
And I was trying to like Natalie. Like I was trying to like her because I understood, like in the first one of the first episodes where that fight actually happened, where she said delicious. I was like, that was kind of not cool. Renee, Natalie really didn't do anything, but just I'm having a hard time liking her.
Little sidebar: did anyone here see Don Juan? Don John, the movie.
No, I haven't seen that yet.
Right.
Scarlett Johansson
Scarlett
and what's
Johansson's
his
movie.
name? Yeah.
Directed by, oh my God, I'm having a brain freeze. Sorry, everyone. Sorry to the director and the
Joseph,
star.
well, no, the actor is Joseph,
Gordon-Levitt.
yes, yeah.
He also directed it.
Yeah.
Great film. Great job by him as an actor and as a director. But very fun movie to see. But what I found was most poignant about that film was Scarlett Johansson's character. And by the way, Scarlett crushed it, okay, in the role. But if you ever see it, want to see it with your boyfriends or your husbands, it's a fun movie. I saw it, but I want to see it again with Maria because it is that much fun. But when you guys see it, let's come back and talk about it because Scarlett, to me, is Natalie.
Oh.
She plays that. That's exactly who Natalie is. If you see the character of Scarlett
Kind of the
Johansson,
entitlement because she's pretty.
just see it because I don't want to give it up.
Okay.
Just see it and then come back and let's talk about it. But anyway, great for the show.
Yeah.
Really great to look at.
She's good casting.
But yeah, but man, it's just like wow.
Well, the two Philly girls have kind of come in and then
stirred the pot.
Yeah, they really have.
Well,
Because
let's
I mean,
talk-
Alicia's Miss Classy. Like she's the classy mob wife, isn't she?
Yes.
And then you've got Natalie who thinks, does she think she's classy? I don't know. She's from a different lifestyle. And so's Alicia. I mean, Alicia was brought up not with fighting. She doesn't know this life. She's just found out that her husband was living a complete double life. She had no idea.
Alicia is, let me get this straight. Alicia is
Sandra Bullock.
high and low.
Oh.
And yeah, she's high and, no, she's low and high. And I think Natalie is high and low. So of the low brow, she's high
Natalie's
end.
a high end.
Yes, and of the low brow, of the high brow, Alicia's in the low bracket. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay.
Well, I like Alicia.
She's a white.
I really like her. I like her as a new
collar criminal.
I like her as a new addition. I do think she's kind of. I like her perspective of like, hello, we don't do this, and like this is not normal, and she's bringing in that kind of a perspective. I think it's interesting, her storyline. I'm very interested to see what happens with her and her storyline of, potentially going to jail and all that.
And you know what could be the difference, guys, with her? And again, it might just be TV. Maybe TV producers didn't show us the side of her and the other characters that we're seeing in her. But notice, she has an extended, nice and warm family. Yes, the husband did what he did, but there is
she has a support system.
System. There's the brother. There were other family members there. There was
just 3 sons.
There was the Sunday dinner, and it wasn't just her and the 3 sons. Like that's what we've seen before. We've seen the mother bear with the little cubs, trying to make this work while the husband's in jail or wherever he's doing, or he's abandoned them, and that was a really. It looked like in the family dinner we saw was a really close extended family, and that maybe is what is the difference.
Yes.
And why we see someone more grounded.
It's good that she has that if they both end up going to jail. I mean, the kids
have somewhere to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ew, that is awful.
Sucks. It's like the Housewives of New Jersey.
Again, and that's why that show I feel successful because it's like holy the crap that they're into is legit.
It's so legit.
Now, by the way, it's not death and dying, but still legit crimes.
They might be going to jail. Yeah. Both parents. So. All right. Well, I think that pretty much wraps up.
No, we got to go to predictions, right?
Predictions. But that wraps up the whole recap of the episode.
I'm sorry. You get some fans. I'm sorry we jumped around a lot.
It's
totally my fault. I promise next week from here I won't do it. I just had a lot to say. And
Kevin's really excited to be back.
I'm sorry. I'm like all in now on the show. I'm all up to speed.
Yes.
Anyway, and I apologize for jumping around.
One thing I just want to say I thought was absolutely hilarious, was when was when we saw Drita at the blackjack table, wherever she was at, with a cigar. She's like, I've lost $6,000 in 2 days. You're like, that's so Drita, sitting there and continuing to gamble after she's lost $6,000 with a cigar in her mouth. That's just classic Drita, and I love her. I love her for that.
She's great.
She's amazing.
She's amazing.
She's great.
All right, so predictions, guys. What do you guys predict?
I thought I'm interested to see how Alicia's kids react to the fact that their dad's going away for we don't know how long. And is she going to tell them that she might be going to jail too?
Well, it's not the great news is that it's kids, but we have an adult and the son. The son is, they say, the little man of the house. He's 18, so he's gonna get the truth. It seems like, so that's gonna be interesting. It seems like Vegas is continued.
Yeah, it looks like they're wrapping up the end of Vegas. Yeah, because I think Renee and Natalie still have some kind of altercation. I mean, at the end of the episode, we saw Renee reach out to Natalie, make that phone call.
That's a big step.
That
for
was
Renee.
a huge step, and I think that was, we kind of talked about it too when we were watching. I know we're jumping back to the show, but I think that's where we all kind of were like, "Oh, Natalie, you know what? It's not all about you all the time, and maybe you don't feel like it, but Renee's reaching out, maybe."
But
and everyone else was like, "What are you doing?
Yeah.
Just go talk to her." This is like, Renee doesn't just call you and want to chat. Like, you need to. The fact that she's doing this is huge, and she's trying.
I'd be annoyed, like Drita and Big Ann, just like, you know what, you're ruining now. You're ruining the trip because you can go, you guys can resolve it, we can move on. But now, if you're not, then it's going to drag on and drag on.
But she did look really comfortable in her chair. Like, no, but I'm just saying, she had the big coconut drink. Like, I'm going to say, as she said,
the elevator's right upstairs.
It
stays 80 degrees till like 10 o'clock at night in Vegas. Or 90 degrees.
I just don't, maybe because I don't go out a lot, I don't have a lot of fun. I was like, okay, really? Why? Because you know what? How many times have you been out, and you guys have had this, right? The girlfriend, or even the boyfriend, or the friend that creates all the fucking drama and ruins.
I hate that.
And
it's that one person.
Or
they can't, or guys who can't handle it, alcohol, all the and it's just, I think,
ruins it for everybody.
And I was always the one with them in the bathroom as they were throwing up, talking their way out of their trouble with the cops or with the. I was always the one whose night was ruined, and so I was like, oh, but I wouldn't want to leave my chair. I want to drink my coconut drink. I want to sit there. I don't want to go up and fight with Renee.
I'm not with you on
drama.
That. I'm not with you. It's going to be drama anyways. It's going to be drama, and the drama is going to get more
it's only
worse.
Gonna get worse.
It's like ripping a Band-Aid off really slowly. Just rip it off fast.
Just get it over with.
Yeah.
We need to. We got to catch up with these girls. We got
to get
Renee
her back on
told
the
us
show.
she wanted to talk to us again, so we have to.
Get her back. I want to talk to Renee.
Yeah, have
to.
See
what's going on with her.
We love you, Renee.
Yeah, we love Renee. And we love them all.
Love them all.
Yes.
No, and by the way, Natalie and Alicia Naaman, I like them too. I love them too.
We like the show.
I do. We need them. I don't think we're gonna. I mean, we might miss Karen a little bit, but I don't even know if we're gonna miss Ramona or Carla.
Are you missing them? I'm not really missing them. I like Carla a little bit. I thought she stirred the pot a little bit.
Well, she tried last season.
Yeah.
She was trying to stir the pot.
Yeah.
These girls have a good dynamic.
Yeah,
they do.
They're like. Natalie's a spitfire. That's really, I think that's really who Natalie is.
Yeah, I think so too. That's why they have her on the show.
Yeah.
She's not just another cute girl.
I don't think she's heard the word no a lot in her life.
Yeah.
No,
and that's
I don't think
perfect for this show.
Yeah. All right, guys, where can we find you?
At Undergaro.
At Shaw Broadbent.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at IamEGR.
At IamEGR. I like that.
Yeah,
that's easy. Wait, so it's Shar Broadbent?
Yeah, CHAR.
Shar Broadbent. Very interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, guys. Well, that's our show.
Thank you.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later, bitches!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.